Go ahead, May.
Hi, Joe. Thank you very much. I'm
Yeah. So let's just see.
in-
Mahabalesh,
yeah,
welcome.
Mahabalesh. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Really appreciate your videos, and it's really helpful. I'm joining from the UK, and I've been meditating. I'm a Vipassana practitioner, and last 10 years I'm practicing it. So when you say the ocean of sensations, I have got loads of ocean of sensations. So absolutely everything word you said is like like a pointed arrows, and they're really piercing. That recently I'm getting into the really like a peak of this spiritual understanding and living in that sense. Many thoughts arise saying I. That's where the start of the separation is, and in various social contexts like me and you now at the moment, but I'm referring at this moment as me as body, so my identifying with the mind. So I'm just thinking loud here, what is a way of, because I know that is utterly nonsense and incorrect, but how do I reframe and how do I start thinking or start expressing myself as a consciousness rather than the mind and body? Because invariably I see in every social context, and I'm kind of a contradicting myself, even though back of my mind is very consciousness, but I'm using I can see very clearly my mind is saying you are a body and mind. You see where I
Yeah.
come from.
So it what I heard you say was that in certain social situations, it's definitely clear to you that you're a body mind, even though you've been meditating for quite some time and you're familiar with these concepts. There is a body mind that you identify with. Okay, so that mechanism, that identification of body mind, doesn't actually have to change, right? It can stay exactly as it is. What changes is your insight into what a body and mind is and what identification is. Right? So if you was to put that situation on a movie screen, and on a movie screen there's you trying to not identify with a body mind and struggling with that, and us watching you on the screen would say, well, why is he doing that? It's all screen. Like, even if there is an identification with the body mind, what is that also made of? It's made of the screen. So we cut through all of these practices that are very useful, but we cut through these practices by going straight to what are we actually even looking at. It's like, okay, so I'm at a party and I'm identifying as a body mind. Am I going to spend my time at the party going, I'm not a body, I'm not a mind, or I'm just going to allow my body mind to enjoy its identification process? But what I'm not, it's not that it's not that the issue is not that you're identifying with the body mind, it's that you're not identifying as consciousness, regardless of what's appearing, and then recognizing it is all consciousness. You know, a body mind is a thought, and there is that identity there, but it's a bit more subtle in that you recognize the nature of the whole field. It's like one step further back. It's all consciousness. Identification, no identification. Reaction, no reaction. Body, mind. Confusion. It's all consciousness. And then you just relax as that. And all what begins to happen is the same thing occurs, but it's gentle and it's not attached. So sometimes in non-dual teachings, we can come across people who've had this instruction to not identify as a body mind, and they make it an observable phenomena. Like they try to make it an observable thing. I'm not identified that hunger is arising, right? And this, which these are tools. These are tools to help in the early stages pry away the attachments, but they're not. That's not a way to live. So the teachings that are higher up, they just go cut. It's all consciousness. One of the most profound statements that I came across was by a teacher called Longchenpa, who's a Tibetan master from 600 years ago. Like you're going through this process of understanding and learning about non-duality. And he says there can never be recognition of awareness because there's never been non-recognition of awareness. So there can never be an awakening because there's never been a non-awakening. And this is the freedom, this is the humor. So I call it the laugh of recognition. When you start to realize that it's all consciousness, the freedom comes as a kind of joyful laughter rather than a tight practice that I've got to stop identifying. And every time I say, oh, my hand, I've done it wrong. Or if I go, oh, I fancy some cake, I've done it wrong. It's like, it's just an easeful recognition that the only experience that you are having at all times is the nature of consciousness, the juncture. Like if I was to describe a person, I wouldn't describe it outside of this group, but it's the juncture of the knowing and the known. And everything is welcome. Everything is welcome within that. Does that answer your question to some degree?
No, definitely, because I think that what you're pretty much saying is that at the back of your mind, your importance is that consciousness. Don't give so much importance to because that's where the suffering starts. Because I'm happy if you praise me, but at the same time, if you say no, you are an idiot, that's where basically that means I'm identifying myself with.
What it is that in these situations you're trying to control your brain. And here's what's really interesting is that none of these ideas that you've mentioned have any consistency. It's like you could be talking to Michael at the party, let's just say, you have no identification with body mind, none. Hey, oh, that's a funny. Oh, hi, huh, oh, and then you go, oh, I'm really identified with my body. And then you stop for a bit and a song plays. I'm just making your social life up for you. And you go and have a dance, and then you're no longer body mind, no identification. Then you stop and you go, oh God, I didn't really, I'm really identified. And what the brain does is it takes a big sewing needle and it collects all the times, the minute or the 10 seconds that you said you was identified, and it sews them all together and it goes, here you go. This is who you are. It's forgot about all the times you weren't identified. Just as I was talking then, I had no idea I was a body mind. And when you asked me the question, I was like, and maybe other people were, oh, I'm a body mind. So it's just doing this. It's just navigating.
Afterthought. It is an afterthought rather than the phenomenon.
Exactly, as the great teacher Rupert Spira, who I really like a lot, he said he talks a lot about the clown that takes the bow. Right, the clown in theatre in the UK, there used to be at the end of the show, the clown bows, and it's like something happens that's completely spontaneous and natural, and then your mind comes in and goes, that was me. And it wasn't even there when the thing happened. The clown wasn't even in that part of the show. So the invitation is to notice as well something like my identification to body mind arises as awareness, it abides as awareness, and it subsides as awareness, and it leaves no trace.
No, that's brilliant. Thank you so much.